we have learned 3 ways to solve a quadratic. You can solve by factoring, you can solve by the quadratic formula, or you can solve by completing the square. We're going to do this one by completing the square. To complete the square, we need the C number on the right-hand side. This is not the correct number to complete the square, so I need to subtract 22 from both sides of this equation. And I'm going to skip a space because I'm going to come back in here and add in my perfect square number. Where am I going to get this perfect square number? The b divided by 2 and square it. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. If I add 4 on this side, I have to add 4 on that side. I added in 4 on this side, so I must add in 4 on the other side. So this is equal to this is equal to that. And so I put it in place of it, and that's going to help me solve it. And so over here, I have a negative 21. This is squared. The opposite of a square is a square root. I square root both sides so that the square and the square root cancel each other out. Well, what do I do with that negative 21? Well, first of all, I need to divide it up into negative 1. Square root of negative 1 times the square root of 21. Do you know what this is equal to? If I try to simplify the 21, 2 won't go into it, 3 will go into it, and I don't have any pairs. This does not simplify. I'm solving for x. There's one final step. Subtract the 2 from both sides, and x equals negative 2 plus or minus I square roots of 21. That's the answer. It's not beautiful, but that's the answer. This represents 2 answers. You don't have to rewrite it this way, but it does represent 2 answers. Negative 2 plus I square roots of 21 is one answer, and negative 2 minus I square roots of 21 is the second answer. There are 2 complex answers to this quadratic. On our next example, we're already set up in the correct form to complete the square. So I need to figure out my perfect square number. So 6 divided by 2 and square it. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. If I add 9 on this side, I have to add 9 on the other side to keep my equation balanced. I'm going to use whatever sign is here with the b. That's going to be the sign in my perfect square. I take the square root of both sides so that the square and the square root cancel each other out. When you take the square root to solve an equation, it is always plus or minus. 7 is a prime number. It's not going to simplify. Add the 3 to both sides so that that cancels out. Can you solve by completing the square? Our last example is going to be solving with the quadratic formula, because I have seen several of you struggling with that, and also some of you are not quite understanding how to finish this kind of problem. For the quadratic formula or solve by factoring, you have to be in standard form. It has to be equal to 0 before you use the quadratic formula or before you factor. So I need to make this side over here equal to 0. I need to zero out this side right here. And this side over here, I need to write it down in standard form. And the quadratic formula is fairly complicated. X equals minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac underneath the square root divided by 2a. So instead of trying to do that all at once, we're going to do the discriminant part first. The a is equal to 4, the b is equal to negative 2, and the c is equal to 4. In this problem, when we do b squared minus 4ac, we have a lot of 4's. B is squared. What do you get when you square that? Minus 4 from the formula, what's the a? The a is 4. And the c is 4. We ended up with a lot of 4's. 4 minus 64. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So this is equal to minus 60. This is the discriminant. Minus 60 is the discriminant, and the discriminant is underneath the square root sign. So that would be a square root of minus 1 and a 60. Square root of 60, I should say. And so I need to, I'm down off the bottom of my paper, simplify the 60. 2 will go into 30. 2 won't go into 15. 3 will go into 15. Why did I do this? Do you see a pair? And do you remember what that's equal to? That has a pair of 2's, and 3 times 5 is a 15 left over. And this is equal to I. Okay. Back over here to finish the problem. This has a minus sign and this has a minus sign. The formula has a minus sign and the b has a minus sign, so minus a minus makes a plus. We already figured out all of this part right here. This is 2i square roots of 15, all divided by 2 times 4. So this is 2 plus or minus 2i square roots of 15 divided by 8. Do you see the line going all the way across? That means the whole thing is divided by 8. That means the 2 is divided by 8 and the 2i is divided by 8. Now the reason I broke this up some more is the 2 over 8 reduces. What is the 2 over 8 reduced to? The 2 over 8 is 1/4, and the 2 over 8 is 1/4. We usually don't write the 1 in front of the I. And so that is the most simplified answer. Some of you are getting stuck on the simplifying part, and we need to continue to work on that.